Alright, what's going on everyone out there on YouTube, NES Ruler, and welcome to a brand new review. And this time around, we'll be checking out a film that was sent to me review by Cult Epics, and you can pick this up on Blu-ray at all your favorite online retailers. It is a film from the year 1982, from the Netherlands, titled A Question of Silence. So, once again, Cult Epics releases some really interesting European films, and this is another one. It's a very pro-feminist film, one of the earliest examples of a really feminist related film. The last movie that I reviewed, or a couple films ago, Red Sun, that film had feminist themes in it, but I wasn't really interested in feminist ideas or anything like that. Well, this film is pure, straight-on feminist ideas, and it's really interesting. Is it the most fascinating film? No, I don't really think so. I know a lot of people really like this film, but it's a little bit too chatty for me. It's all character driven. I mean, the whole entire film is nothing but character driven narrative, which is fine, but I ultimately think that the characters are somewhat bland and boring. I know that a lot of people disagree with me, but I really do think that. So in this film, we followed these three women. One day they are in a dress store, and they end up murdering this shopkeeper. These three women who never met each other. They don't know their names, no idea who they are, but they ended up murdering this guy in broad daylight in the shop. And we are introduced to our main character, who is a psychiatrist who gets assigned to talk and interview these three ladies to decide if they're sane or not. So the film is basically just her talking to these three ladies to figure out why they're doing what they're doing, or what they did, if they're really sane or if they're crazy, and why they murdered this guy in broad daylight. And along the way, we learn more of their motives, and the feminist themes really hit into high gear, where we see that all the men in this movie are complete jackasses to these ladies, and they treat them like they're lesser than them. And I feel like that's where the message is trying to come across, that, you know, these three ladies are just as responsible as three men who would murder a guy. You know, they're treated differently, where they really do want to get treated exactly the same as everybody else. They don't really care about if they're insane or not. They're just more interested in being treated fairly and equally to their counterparts. And I feel like that's where a lot of the themes really come from. Along the way, we are introduced more to some of the other women who were in this store, who just stood by the side and watched this, didn't say anything. And towards the end of this film, this all comes into play. But like I said, the main driven narrative is our psychiatrist character talking to these ladies and coming up with this idea if they're sane or not. It's an okay film. I know a lot of people, like I said, really like this film, but I just think it's just okay. It's a little, like I said, it's a little bit too chatty for me, and the feminist themes are really pounded into the ground a little bit at some points. I respect it for what it did, and what it tried to achieve, but I ultimately feels like it's a little bit too much in your face. But it's still an interesting film. It's really well acted. Everybody does a really great job in this film. We have one of the ladies who doesn't want to talk, one of the ladies who's really over the top, really loud, and really over the top, and then we have a woman who's pretty much neutral in the middle. And the fact that these three personalities combined into doing this murder is another interesting aspect of this movie. But ultimately, an interesting film, early feminist film from the Netherlands from '82. Like I said, Cult Epics always releases these really interesting European films, and they did it again. Now, the transfer, it's hit or miss. It doesn't really look that great, to be completely honest with you. It's a 2K transfer from the 35mm print. It looks decent enough. I'm not entirely sure how many releases this film has had before this Blu-ray, but you could tell that the print that they were working with wasn't the best shape. It wasn't a negative or anything like that. They were just doing the transfer from a 35mm print. So there's that. And then you have a commentary track by a film scholar, and then you got some interviews with the director from 1982, and an interview with one of the actresses, and then a newsreel from 82. So some archival interviews on this release. Nothing amazing, brand new, besides the commentary track. So let's talk about the packaging. Let's come up here. So here is the Blu-ray, the spine, and then we have the back, and then inside we have the disc artwork with the disc on the cover art. So pretty much a standard release here from Cult Epics, but it looks, it's a nice enough package that they did. So that is my review of A Question in Silence. If you guys like feminist kind of films, films with themes that are interested in boosting women and their voices, then you're definitely going to want to check this one out from Cult Epics. I hope you guys liked this review. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/NESWorld22. Again, please bear with me when I deal with these new technical things. I'm testing stuff all the time, so I hope everything is going well. Thank you again for bearing with that. And I shall talk to you guys soon. See you guys.